Hey guys, welcome to our fifth podcast. You're again with Alex and Vadim. We would always appreciate and still appreciate if you guys would subscribe and like. It'd be really great. Also, this podcast is brought to you by quickyprint.com, where you can have all your printing needs met. So Vadim, what is our first topic of the day?
The first topic of today are the terrorist attacks that occurred in Paris. When I first heard about the attacks, I saw them on yahoo.com, and I was really shocked as to it happening in Paris. I actually thought it was going to happen in Germany, and it was really, really shocking to me.
Wait. First, why Germany?
Well, I thought that, because of all the immigration or immigrants that, were entering in Germany, I thought that, something like that would happen there before anywhere else.
But Germany wasn't the only place that was accepting them.
No, the Germany absolutely wasn't the only place that was accepting them, but it was really the one country that was, in the headlines. You know what I mean? It was the biggest country in the headlines.
So basically, the most advertised one, that's the one they thought.
The most advertised one, and they were accepting the most as far as per media. So, I thought that, if something would happen as far as a terrorist attack, I thought that it was going to happen in Germany. Well, I guess, I was wrong. But, either way, it's just a terrible tragedy. I think over 150 people were killed. And I've seen videos on it where they showed the back street of people coming out of, I think, the movie theater or theater. I'm not too sure, but this guy captured it from his apartment, and I saw this pregnant woman. She was off a ledge, and I saw people limping and running away, and it was just total chaos. And this is from a back street. Where this guy was filming. But where were you when this happened?
I was also at home, but it really took me off guard because at first when I heard it, I didn't know, or I didn't even think that it was a terrorist attack for a minute. And then when I actually started reading about it, it definitely, it definitely made sense, or it was pointing to that it was a terrorist attack, and it's really unfortunate that it happened, and I'm really curious as to what this is going to do to all the other nations, including the United States. How is this going to affect them taking all these migrants in? Will it stop it? I mean, in France, they stopped it 100%, but in other countries, I haven't heard them say anything about it yet. So I'm curious as to what this is going to do now. It's something that seems like it's going to only happen more and more often. Do you think that we're going to see more of these incidents in other countries, maybe even US, or do you think that this is something that was a one-time thing that's specifically from these migrants? I'm not talking about anyone else coming from somewhere else, but I'm talking about specifically from the migrants that are coming into Europe and into US. Do you think that this is something that we're going to see more of, or do you think this is something that was just like a one-off?
I don't think this is a one-off thing. I think that it's going to continue happening. I've been watching on YouTube videos where Muslims, whether they're the first generation Muslim Germans, and how they treat their classmates that are non-Muslim. They beat them up, they push them, they yell at them, they don't want to assimilate with them, and that's just, one example. But the thing here is that supposedly some of these migrants are coming from ISIS. And, the problem is we don't know.
That's what ISIS actually said.
Yeah. Well, that's what they said.
Yeah, but we don't know. Yes, you're right.
We don't know who is ISIS member, who isn't ISIS member, who is Syrian, who isn't Syrian. I don't think, these countries, Germany and England, France,
right,
they're actually, checking to see who they are. They just letting them in. Well, what if you don't have a passport?
Hold on. I'm not sure we actually know what they're actually doing, what kind of checks, what kind of follow-ups they're doing. Like, we don't know. So I mean, that's really speculation to say that they're not doing anything. They're just going, hey, border is open, go wherever you want. I don't think it's that, but neither of us really know what kind of checks they're doing and what kind of follow-ups they're doing to make sure, okay, you guys are here. Are they putting, maybe even, who knows, they might be even putting in, some chips in to make sure they could track them. Who knows?
I really don't think so. But the problem here is that, you're letting in a group of people that are Muslims. I mean, I don't even understand this, because ISIS was targeting Christians and killing them because they were Christians, and the U.S. hasn't really, or any other European country hasn't really, had an uproar against that, and I don't see any migrants, as far as I know, that are specific Christian families that are being brought over. It just seems like it's just a Muslim population.
How do you figure? Because I'm not really sure. Like, I haven't heard anything.
What I heard from the news is that these are Muslim migrants. There are some Christians as well, but most of them are Muslims. So I don't even understand this at all.
But you're saying at one point they don't know where these people are coming from, whether Syria or not, but you're saying they know that they're all Muslim?
Hey, I agree with what you're saying. That's what they're saying.
Seem like...
Well, yet again, I don't know myself, obviously. I'm not there. I don't know what's going on. But according to news agencies, they're saying that most of the migrants that are coming over to Europe and right now to the U.S., the first plane, I think, just flew into New Orleans a couple of days ago. 1,000, I believe, migrants. But what they're saying is that. So, but the question is, why aren't the Christians, or why weren't the Christians being helped? The Muslims, you know what I mean? So I don't know. There's a huge issue here. But
I don't know if they're like picking out. I mean, are you basically saying, like, why aren't they walking around and going, like, are you Christian? Oh, okay, you're Christian, come with us. Oh, you're Muslim? No, stay in line, wait for your turn. Like, are you really saying something like that? Or are you, I'm not exactly sure what you mean by, why are they helping him out? Like, did you want him to divide them in groups or something?
In a sense, divide them between Muslims and Christians. You know what I mean? It's not, it's not that hard to do. But what I'm trying to get at.
Yes, it is.
What I'm trying to get at
Yes, it is. If they see that you're doing something like this, don't you think all of them will go, yeah, I'm Christian?
I'm trying to get the fact out that the problem here is that not necessarily these migrants are bad as individuals. Saudi Arabia or any other Middle Eastern country, they don't want to take them in. So the question is, if they don't want to take them in, why should the U.S. and Europe take in their people? They're Arabs. So why are we taking on non-educated Arabs who are only concerned about Islam and people not burning their Quran? Because if you burn the Quran, they'll chop your head off. I mean, why are we even trying to accommodate these people in the first place when they don't even respect Western culture? They don't want to assimilate at all. And it's funny, they say that, okay, well, I want to return back to my homeland, but yeah, okay, if they're given welfare, they're given a place to live and food on their table, they're not going to want to go back. What do you think?
Well, I do agree to the last part you said. Of course, if you live here, you most likely wouldn't want to go back. But at the same time, I do believe that it's very easy to make a whole group look really, really bad. You just need, literally, you could take 1,000 people, and if one person in this group, does something horrific or bad, then all of the 1,000 people are going to look that way just because he is basically one of them. So are most of the people that are coming, the migrants, most of them are most likely decent people, most of them. But the problem is that we don't know what percentage or how many or which ones aren't good. and we're taking them in, and how many of them are ISIS members, we don't really know. We don't really know what the governments are doing to keep an eye on these people. Are they doing anything, or are they doing a lot, and we just, they just don't want to share with us, because then you'll get everybody going, oh my god, that's wrong, you can't do that. So I don't exactly know what they're doing, but I'm sort of with you on the idea that why aren't other countries, especially in the Middle East, taking them in? I agree with that. But at the same time, if for Europe especially, for the United States, I'm not exactly sure, but for Europe especially, I don't know, like, they have a hard thing to deal with, because most of these migrants, they're not being shipped by European countries to Europe. They're basically sort of walking the steps and going, hey, we're here, can you help us out? This is something that is very difficult for them to deal with, and I it's like, I think it's very easy to say to turn them away, and in some ways you do want to, especially after an incident that happened in Paris. You're looking at it and going like, this is just crazy to allow this to happen, and to go like, oh yeah, let's bring more in. France right away closed it out, because absolutely that's something that happened. Are other countries at this point waiting for the same thing to happen to them? Like, meaning, is Germany going to do the same thing if something happens there? Is US going to do something if it happens here? It's like, are they going to, like, what are the steps that the countries are going to take now that this happened in Paris?
Well, the other issue here is that the people have not voted for whether to accept migrants or not. I mean, the government is making the decision for the people. In a democracy or in a republic, which we used to live in, in my opinion, that's not acceptable. The people have to vote on a referendum, or vote for whether we want to accept immigrants who are technically illegal, that taxpayers are going to be contributing their money towards. You know what I mean? Like, it's just so ridiculous.
I have no argument with you on that. There's no like, this is something that should be addressed by the people, in terms of there needs to be a special election, and people need to be able to vote on this. Whether I can't speak for outside the United States. However their government wants to do it, it's up to them. But here in the United States, we definitely should be able to vote on something like this, because New Orleans didn't get a vote to see if migrants could be sent there. No state is really getting that. It just seems like who's fighting the most not to get them is basically, because I think they were just trying to, I don't remember, it was Tennessee or Kansas. I don't remember, but there was a state that just turned them away, and that's why they were sent to New Orleans. And it just seems like it's the state that fights the most that doesn't get them, and the state that fights the least, like, oh well, all right, we'll send them there. So
exactly.
I completely agree with you there. Basically, that's what I'm saying.
Well, the problem is, most of the people don't want them here in the first place. The reason is simple. They're illegal. 2, they're uneducated. 3, they're Islamic. We don't want Islam, in my opinion, in America. And all these progressive liberals who are homosexual, who are women, who don't realize what is really going on here. These people have never known freedom. They don't want freedom. And they'll use any opportunity to utilize Sharia law, whether it's legal or not legal. If they see a woman that's wearing a skirt, I guarantee you they're going to come up to her and start harassing her. Or if they don't like someone kissing in public, or if they see a homosexual in public, guess what they're going to do? I mean, you really have to understand the culture that these people come from. These are not radicals, but if you really understand what Islam is, they're very oppressive towards cultures that are not Islamic. So, I mean, people have to realize what's going to happen is your stupid progressive liberalism is going to give these Islamists privilege to do what they like, and they're going to want to take away your freedom while you're fighting for their freedom to take away your freedom. And it's just so backwards. You have to realize the fact that these people, they're not radicals, but they're accustomed to a culture, to a status quo where women are second-class citizens, where homosexuals should be beheaded, where adultery should be stoned. So you have to realize what you're letting in. You know what I mean?
You're making it so difficult to agree with you because you sometimes take stances that are so one-sided that I have a hard time kind of like, even if there's parts that I agree with you on, I have a hard, like, it's like, because it's too far one-sided. And while yes, I agree with you on the liberal side that they are, but it's not only that. There's a lot of Christians that feel the same way about it, where they're like, hey, you know what, I see kids there, I see parents there, I see, it's like I see families there, how can we not help them? So it is a Christian thing to do, to help them, and not to only look at the religion they come from. But also, I mean, if you feel the way that you're saying, what about the Muslims that we have here? Should they be thrown out with the Muslims that you don't want to take? Should we just, take all these guys and people?
Well, I mean, if it was really up to me, then it's either the Quran or get the fuck out of here.
So basically, Muhammad Ali, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, all these guys to try to kick him out.
Well, no. I'm not talking about.
Even Mike Tyson, I think, for a minute was.
That's true. I wouldn't touch the black Muslims. I think, black Muslims are really confused about what Islam is, and I really don't think that they understand that Islam is far beyond what they're preaching. So no, I'm not talking about the black Muslims that actually think that they understand the doctrine. I think that probably it's been rewritten, but it doesn't make you right in either case. Yet again, I don't like religion in the first place. It doesn't matter if it's Christianity, Judaism, or Islam. But the danger here is when you allow for these people to come into your community, it's like allowing a virus to spread. And you don't want for a virus to spread. You want to contain it and you want to kill it. So wait.
You're saying to send them back to wherever they came from and then kill them?
No. I'm not saying to kill them. I'm saying to give them ultimatum. Do you want the Quran or do you want freedom? You want the Quran? Okay, go back to Middle East.
So you just said, but you said
no. I mean kill the virus as in to get rid of it. You know what I mean? To isolate it and to get rid of it. That's really. I don't mean to kill.
But I don't know. But if you're saying they're the virus and you want to kill the virus, then you kill them.
No, it's just a metaphor. I don't want to kill innocent people. But what I'm trying to say is the Quran is very dangerous. The more educated you are,
I agree with you
in the Quran, the more versed you are with the infidel, and you can kill the infidel. You can discriminate against the infidel. You can do terrible things to the infidel because that's what Muhammad did. That's just a fact.
There was somebody. I don't want to take credit for it, but there was somebody. I don't remember if it was a comedian or not. So, but whoever it was, and basically they made a connection, and they're like, when Muslims are in a community where they're the minority, they're relatively quiet, and it's usually very they're basically they're sort of in their own area. Once they get to a bigger majority, or I don't want to say majority, but once they become maybe around 30% or 40%, that's when you start hearing murmurs and in terms of like how they don't like things, how things maybe should be changed. And as soon as they become close to either 50% or a majority, that's when that's when physical violence that starts to take place. And it just seems like it's across the board in every single country that we've ever seen this. That's always been the case. As soon as Muslims become a majority, it seems like that's what happens. They want to turn people the way they want them, and this is basically across the board just because of their beliefs. And the thing is, if you ask most Muslims in terms of what they believe, as in terms of beating their wife for doing certain things, killing somebody and stuff like that, for maybe talking about Muhammad or doing something. Well, talking about Muhammad in a negative way, by the way, not just talking about him, but talking about him in a negative way. Most Muslims who are, even, you could say right now, are moderate, who are, kind of like low key, would still go, yeah, well, in these cases, I could see why it would be okay to stone her, or it would be okay to beat her, or it would be okay to kill him. And those are the moderate Muslims, because that's basically what the Quran says. And if you believe it, then that's basically what you have to do. So I agree in terms of that if we start letting in all these Muslims and they start taking over communities, there will be problems. If for example in New Orleans, I don't really see it being a problem, but in other areas, once you start giving them land and you start putting them aside, that's when you're going to start seeing growth, and they have babies pretty crazily. So they're going to grow very fast, and it's not going to be good for those communities. It's not going to be good for, I
have a suggestion. Send them to Texas.
Why Texas?
Well,
No.
a lot of white rednecks with shotguns.
Well, you could also send them to Compton.
I don't know. They may convert the black people to Islamists.
I think they might have a hard time with that one.
I don't know, but I think the solution here is to send them to Texas and let Texas take care of them. But it's just such a messed up situation, in my opinion, with terrorism. Yet again, not necessarily the terrorist acts that happened in Paris occurred because of the migration that has happened to Paris. We don't really know who actually committed those crimes. But still, the fact is
But the thing is, I mean, it's pretty easy to say that probably was the case. I mean, you're absolutely right. We don't have like pure evidence right now. An argument for me, but if you just take a look at the basics, it's like, okay, so they started letting in a lot of migrants, and when that happened, this happened. It's like, yeah, you could close your eyes and go, well, it could have been anybody, but it probably wasn't. Do you know what I mean? So,
and the other problem is that in France, most people don't have guns, and they can't really protect themselves against an attack like that. If this happened in Texas, I guarantee you that maybe 10 people, maybe 20 people would have died, but I guarantee you they probably would have taken out the shooters. And this whole notion that we should have really strict gun laws against people.
But didn't some of them actually even have, didn't they, have a bomb vest and stuff like that?
Yeah, supposedly.
So, I mean, I don't think you could do too much with a gun when it comes to that. If they're gonna blow up a building you're in.
True. That's true. Some people did have bomb vests
wasn't it
on.
like 5 or 6?
I don't know how many people have that bomb vests on, but you're absolutely right. I mean, you can't really defend against that. But there were assailants that had machine guns, and they were mowing down people.
You're absolutely right, but you're absolutely right. But the thing is, if you're a terrorist and your basic idea is to terrorize, in a sense, in terms of like, how can we commit the most terror with limited amount of whatever they have. So yes, so for example, if they were in Texas, you're probably right. They probably wouldn't necessarily go with guns blazing and try to go, hey, we're gonna shoot you all, because they're like, yeah, there's a chance that more Texans do have guns on them. Not in metropolitan areas, but more in the rural areas. But they would just adapt and go like, okay, we need to have more bombs and less firearms, basically, because that's something that we're gonna need to do. So I don't know if that idea is that if if they have guns, then all of a sudden you're gonna be protected. I really don't think that would be the case. They would just use a different technique to accomplish their goal.
But still, ask me whether I would be more safe with carrying the gun or not carrying the gun. I'll give you a simple
in that
answer.
scenario, you would
in
not
any
be.
scenario.
Well,
it doesn't.
not.
It doesn't matter in what scenario it is.
You're saying there's no scenario that you would not be safer with.
What I'm saying is I would be safer in either way carrying the gun than not carrying the gun. That's obvious. But what I'm trying to get at is this.
No, you wouldn't. You just made a statement like we're supposed to accept it. Like, yeah, no, you wouldn't. If somebody has a vest on, they're gonna blow themselves up. Doesn't matter if you have a gun. You don't know what that like. What are you gonna look at everybody and see what are they doing? No, he comes up next to you, presses a button, explodes. Doesn't matter if you have a gun or not.
I understand that. I'm saying, but still, I would rather have a gun in general.
You said no.
Speaking,
you said you'd be you'd be safer either way, and you wouldn't.
But what if it fails? Okay, what if the bomb fails? And
then you'll just walk away.
No, just shoot the but you don't know.
What is he? He doesn't have to yell anything. He just come up to you.
They usually yell.
Okay, but he didn't yell. Well,
if he didn't,
you're making up a scenario to prove your point. But I'm saying you said in any scenario you would still be safer, and I'm saying no, you wouldn't. If he just came up to you, boom, pressed a button, and boom, explodes, you would not be safer. A gun wouldn't help you.
Okay. Well, the whole issue here is that terrorists are on the loose. We know that for a fact, and
yes.
It's just so crazy how these European countries and the United States, the excuse is that the fact that we're not at war with Islam, ISIS is contained. That's what Obama said, and we should all feel safe. Let's let them in. Let's let these guys in. It doesn't matter who they are. It seems like I don't know what the vetting process is. Nobody knows. It seems like let's just let them in. Why not? Let the taxpayers pay for it. They're not voting for it. Let them pay for it. You
are taking everything out of context and to make your own point. I see what you're doing, but we already established that we don't know what kind of vetting process they go through. We don't know what they do to them, how they track them. We don't know any of those things. But you're making it out, like they're just like, hey, come in. You want to go over there? Go over there and enjoy yourself.
But the simple
you want
question,
guns? You want welfare? You want this? Right. You go for it.
But the simple question is, who's paying for it?
Again, I agreed with you. No. See, it's not the simple question because you made a bunch of other statements.
Right.
I agreed with you in the first statement that I said that yes, people in the United States should be able to vote on whether they accept them or not. You're absolutely right on that.
Okay.
But I'm saying the rest of the stuff you just kind of made, points like, oh yeah, this is what they're doing, this is how they're doing it. Even we don't know, but this is how they're doing it, and that's not true either.
And no one is disclosing to us what they're doing, what they're not doing. You know what I mean? It's funny. We do live in a democracy, no doubt, but it's a democracy where the few rule the majority. Yeah, I mean, you have Congress. And you have the White House, and they're pretty much even the Congress is not making the decision as far as what I can see. It's just the White House.
They're not. Yeah, but they're also not fighting against it either.
Okay, exactly.
It's like I don't know what the. Yes, you could hear one person say something here, say something there, but overall, I haven't heard as a consensus, this is what we want to do. This is what we don't want to do.
Absolutely true. And, you're right. Congress is not fighting it. The White House, is bringing them in. ISIS is contained. And, everything is all good. These are good people we're bringing in. We don't know if these are good people. You're not giving us the data. You're not telling us who these people are.
Would we even trust the data, though?
And that's another good point. That's a good point what you're saying. Will we trust the data? I don't think we can trust the government, in my opinion at least, in general.
Of course, you don't believe that. Yes.
No, I don't believe in trusting the government, especially look what they're doing. And it's funny, they see the attacks on Paris, and let's just bring them in. Let's just continue bringing them in. We're gonna, you guys are gonna pay for it. Of course, we're not gonna pay for it. Talking about the White House or Congress, they don't pay taxes, but it's going to be the middle class that's going to pay for these immigrants, and let's just do that. let's wait until a terrorist plot
It's not.
unfolds
Yeah.
in the United States. And it's funny.
It's not. It's not really. But no. But the thing is, it's not really about like you keep on talking about the money and all that kind of stuff. I really don't think it's the money issue because I heard all the crazy numbers that you know, especially Republicans were like have been throwing around that they're actually bringing in this year like hundreds of thousands of migrants and all that kind of stuff. Those are completely made up numbers that no one at all could even show examples of where they even got them. That those are numbers are made up. But the money that we're gonna spend on having them here is relatively minuscule. That's not really the problem. It really isn't that, oh, how are we gonna cover them? The problem is that if the people in the United States don't want them here, that's what it is. It's really is that. It's like you're bringing in people that, you know, Americans might not feel safe with, and if they don't, they should be able to vote on that. No one person should be able to decide this, like, well, I'm gonna bring him here, and you know, too bad for you. That's the biggest problem that I see, at least right now.
Pretty much, you're absolutely right. It's the decision of you know, the White House. You know, it's a humanitarian crisis. You are creating a humanitarian crisis by constantly bombing Syria. You're the problem. We are not the problem. No one asked us whether the United States or Europe should be bombing Syria in the first place. So how dare you put these migrants on our heads and say that we must help them? No, you help them. You created the problem. You fucking help them. You have them move into your fucking house and feed them with your own money. Don't fucking put this on the general public. We didn't do shit. We don't want these fucking wars. We want them to stop, and it's not our fault. It's your fault, and we have no say at all.
All right.
It's ridiculous.
And that's the fucking point. All right. Okay. So I think we both kind of expressed our feelings about it. So let's move on to our next topic.
Next topic is Charlie Sheen coming out on Good Morning.
That's a U-turn on the topic. All right. Okay.
Coming out and saying that he